All right, we're taping this. It is 9:08 Pacific time, Sunday night. We would have started taping sooner, but Geno Smith and Ben Roethlisberger decided to go mano a mano in just an awful game that wouldn't end. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk
No, we are not. We did it. It's over. Dak the Destroyer. CD Lamb the legend took a giant dump in Foxborough, and the evil empire is no more. 567 yards to 335. Final score 35-29 in overtime. Cowboys win. Cowboys cover. You are defeated. Hang it up. Fuck off, Bills. Both of you Bills, Belichick and Simmons. How about them Cowboys? Woo!
Did you Logan Roy that at the end?
I think I did. I may have. Oh,
the cover was the worst part.
Never a doubt. Never doubt. Woo!
We've been doing Guess the Line since 2007. I don't think our teams have played more than 2 or 3 or 4 times during that. I don't even remember. I don't remember really anything about any Pats Cowboys game that stands out until this one. This was a great one. You almost killed my quarterback. Mina Kimes texted me. It looked like his soul left his body after Randy Gregory. It was worse than the Bledsoe Mo Lewis hit. It really, I didn't think he was going to get up. I just thought he was going to roll over and get carried off.
We did it to Danny Dimes last week too. That looked terrible. I mean, everyone should just start their backup against us just to be safe. I don't know what more advice I need to get to these opposing teams.
So better win for the Cowboys or worse loss for the Patriots?
Oh, I don't want to be caught up in this nonsense. I'll just take the win. I'm just happy. I'm just thinking this is a game we would have lost many, many times last year. We wouldn't even gotten to overtime in this game last year, but we persevered. You try to cheat us. I mean, Dak Prescott on third down, when not only was half his body was in, the ball was in,
nobody thought he was in
his genital. Third down. What do you mean nobody thought it was in?
Oh, wait a second. What about third and 3, whatever that was, to Aguilar, and your guy hit Aguilar in the face. The ref's right there. No call.
He's just
right
like,
at the end of the fourth quarter. When are we allowed to
hit
receivers in the face?
He's just waving. He's like, hey, good to see you. Nice play. That's it. That's all that was. That wasn't anything big.
Well, Dak should have held out of the ball when he crossed the goal.
That was bad. Fourth down.
I mean, the reality is you guys could have had 40-plus points. You're unstoppable.
Yeah.
I never felt comfortable ever on defense. I always felt 3rd and 8, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 3. Always felt like you were going to get it. The best asset we had on your team was your dumb coach.
Yeah, that's true. But
fourth and 1 kicks the 51-yarder with 3 minutes left. We weren't going to stop you on 4th and 1.
You know what? I got to tell you, I didn't mind either of the 4th and 1 field goal attempt. You should make one of 2 51-yard field goals as a kicker. You know,
don't you want to do the thing that the other team doesn't want you to do, though? I didn't want you to go for it on 4th and 1. You were going to get it.
Listen, our play calling was dismal down there. I had already seen us botched 5 4th and 1s or 3rd and 1s or 4th and 2s. And then, you know, I saw 4th and 1s thwarted all day. It was starting with that London game. I was like, all right, just kick it here. That's fine. That's not the problem I have. Running that play clock down and not calling a timeout or not running it down to 3 when you know you're going to kick it, that's a problem. And yet you were out coached. Don't you feel it's slipping away a little bit with Belichick? He was out coached today. He should have gone on 4th and 3.
Well, it's funny because we're going to talk about succession. We got the screeners. We're going to talk about succession at the tail end of this podcast for the next 10 weeks. I was thinking a little bit about Logan Roy frantically trying to find who can succeed him someday. And you have Belichick, who now has 2 of his kids on his coaching staff. Could we get some more coaches?
Yeah.
Can we just have better play calling? Can we not screw up? Can it not seem like, you know, with the play clock winding down, we have to use timeouts? Or we're going to get delay of games. Things are discombobulated. We have a rookie quarterback who's like the most mild-mannered guy who is also basically a zombie because Randy Gregory killed him. And he's screaming at the sidelines because it's so disorganized.
You got me thinking, which Roy is Steve Belichick?
Oh, my God. I mean, he's got to be.
Got his tongue out all the time.
Got to be Roman, right?
I guess he's Roman. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, my dad texted me. These are some of my dad's texts. I hate that second down run. Awful series by McDaniel. Awful. Fire McDaniels. Wimp. We got so out-coached. This is my 74-year-old dad. we don't send texts like that about the Patriots.
Yeah,
we did get out coached, and your coach is terrible.
Guess
that was
what?
the
You
worst
do
part.
now. You and Dad get used to it. Those are texts that you and most father sons are familiar with now in the NFL. You got to deal with a bad coach. I think the game is passing him by. I don't know what to do.
We gave the game away. You took it. You made some plays, but we also gave it away. We had the ball. You missed that field goal.
567 yards to 335, and 70 of those were to Kendrick Bourne, who's going to be in the XFL next year. That was his one reception. And we're not counting the 25-yard interception. How about that interception? My God, the way Diggs moves. He really is like Dion. Like, the ball is not even part of him when he's running with it.
That was Mac's worst throw of the game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he probably has 9 cracked ribs from the Randy Gregory hit, but that we had the ball. All we needed was 1 first down. The game's over. You had 2 timeouts left. There was like 3 minutes left. Couldn't get it. Then we have the ball. We get it. First, Aguilar drops, yet another pass. I think I've officially turned on that free agent signing. All the Eagles fans were like, no, he drops everything. I'm like, no, he's awesome last year in the Raiders. We need a deep threat. Guy drops every big pass we throw to him. He drops it. It doesn't matter. We get a first down anyway. First down on the 40. Harris, 5-yard run, 2nd and 5. And then we run this terrible run play for 2. And then our 3rd and 3 is this weird Aguilar, out route where your guy hits him in the face, but he wasn't going to catch it anyway. And that's it. You have the ball. Then we punt it right to you. You have it on the 20.
That was great.
I knew you were going to score after that. I was mad.
But that was the overtime. I mean, how about that great catch by Wilson on 4th and 4 when we were down 3,
nice.
like over the shoulder, how he stayed in bounds.
That was
we'll
nice.
Never know. It's like, I don't know. This team, they feel a little, I don't want to jinx it, but they feel a tiny bit destined, right? A tiny bit.
Now, here's what I have to say.
What do you mean? I mean, maybe they're not even top 3 in the NFC.
It's mid-October. It's a 17-game season.
I know, but
slow down.
We have a 3-game lead. We're 5-1 heading into the bye. We have a 3-game lead in the division. This is insanity.
Well, that part is great. Yeah. I will say this as somebody who just went against your favorite team for 4 hours and felt like there's just a lot of options.
Yeah.
Whatever the yardage is, it just seems like there's a lot of things you can do. And we didn't talk about your quarterback yet.
Michael Gallup hasn't even played yet.
Yeah. I know. Your quarterback was awesome. That throw he made to CD for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
Not like the easiest throw. Like, I would say half the quarterbacks in the league would have sailed it, thrown it behind him. There would have been like, maybe he catches it, but he has to turn back for the ball.
Back-footed it, and it turns out it's going to be a bad back foot because he's got an ankle injury, but we have a bye here, so it shouldn't matter as much. But
yeah, it's weird. His QBR, I don't understand QBR, but it was 52.3.
Okay.
He threw for 445 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
I thought we got good pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I thought he navigated it, and he's got to be in the MVP conversation, right? It's him, and it's Kyler and Lamar.
Yeah,
that's the 3 right now.
I don't know if you could say enough about. Although if Kyler Murray just keeps winning like this, it's going to be hard to turn your back on him. But what's Lamar now? He's 35 wins before 25 years old. Only Marino's done it, or Marino did it slightly slower than he did. I don't know what the record is, but
you think like it's just all backup running backs, rotating wide receiver crew. Doesn't seem like they're like unbelievable blockers. He had some comebacks. They're 5-1. They're plus 47. He's got to be in the mix. But until the Cardinals lose, Kyler has to be the favorite. I know we have a long way to go.
I know. I mean, I could talk about this Cowboys thing, but I'll give you.
Let's go. No, you deserve it. You get 5 more minutes. This is all the years you had to come on and listen to me talk about the Pats. No, you should get 5 more minutes.
To say. I just love it. I love that, the heat's not on Zeke anymore. You're going to get your 115 combined from him. Pollard's going to run hard. Like you said, the receiving options are great. I mean, Belichick, what was the game plan going in? Because he takes away your best option, right? Like what you want to do most. But then
he took CD away for it seemed like 2.5 hours, and then all of a sudden he had over 100 yards.
And you got everyone else running around, and Amari Cooper was sort of out of it too, and it still didn't seem to matter. They still got it done, and Gregory, they put the pressure on. I just love it. You're doing weird things though. You got a punt block. We hadn't gotten one in I think 7 or 8 years or something. That doesn't happen to the Patriots. I don't have to remind you.
A punt blocked when they seemed discombobulated and like they were going to get a delay game if they didn't rush, and all of it led to the punt block, but it was just they didn't seem right. And it's been their own 4 at home. So
I do feel like you and your dad have been dropped onto a different planet that you're not familiar with punt blocks and strip sacks and stuff like that, and guys fumbling like last week. Like you're gonna have to now you're gonna learn about real NFL feelings. I don't know how
Me
you're
and
gonna
my
deal with this.
dad, me and my dad are fine. The Red Sox are 7 wins away from another World Series title. We're very focused on it, and we have
All
a
right.
quarterback. If you're gonna start complaining, other than
He's
the
good.
bad coaching, it's like, other than Judon, the free agent signings, they splurged on Aguilar, Jalen Mills for $24 million. All the Eagles fans made fun of me for that. They were right. And then the 2 tight ends who have been pretty marginal in terms of impact.
Well, they
And that
spent
was the big
$280
spray.
million, so I don't know what they. So maybe get Belichick out of there. Maybe he's just got the wrong guys. Maybe he's got the wrong everything.
It seems like they went 1-2-2, 1 win, 2 losses,
Yeah,
and 2 pushes
Toss up.
so far.
Right.
But
I'll give you that. That
so
might be
here-
enough to get the 7 seed.
But the sloppiness is bizarre. And it dates back to last year, because there was moments last year and you could chalk it up to COVID and all this stuff. But this year, they don't have the same
Isn't
excuse.
it weird? You and I talked about it early last week, like a week ago today, when we saw the line for this 3.5. I'm like, oh, that's going to 6. And it's like, oh no, not only didn't it go to 6, it went to 3. What the hell is going on here? And then when the Patriots are winning the whole game, like, damn it, the FanDuels are what they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And then only to have the Cowboys cover in overtime and everybody wins whatever teaser or whatever they have them on, So
Well, I have a little confession for you.
What is it?
We left you off this thread, me and House.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Pats plus 3.5. I completely talked myself into it by game time.
What time was this? It was 8 minutes
like
before.
15 minutes before. I was riding high with my Chiefs.
Oh my God.
Chiefs Rams parlay and hit the Vikes, and I talked myself into the Pats. I was like, this line hasn't moved all week. This is super suspicious. I'm taking the Pats.
It was,
and it was right. Yeah, I mean,
like, Diggs isn't playing. Something's up here. I don't know why this went down to 3. Like where the sharps, because I guess I know why, because you see that trend, like Belichick's 12-2 against spread at home when he's an underdog. It's like, I don't know. How long do we hold on to those though? Still, I mean, I don't want to say it's Brady's team. It was Brady all along, but those are Brady's trends, right? You have to like kind of part with those eventually.
Past performance in football is pretty irrelevant. The roster changes too much. Here was what pushed it over the top for me to bet the Pats, though. I thought Carolina looked terrible today, and it made me go back and look at all of Dallas's wins before the game today, right? So you had the Tampa game, which was a good one, good back and forth. Beat the Chargers by 3. Now, we watch that Chargers team now, and it's like, man, their defense is kind of shitty. You can
run on them. That's
you could really stick it down their throat.
They're 31st in the league against the run, and the Ravens didn't end up with. I think they ended up with 187, 190 or something. But they had like 80 rushing yards in the first quarter. That turned the game on its ear. Like that was it. If you
they have that,
team, anyone could beat them then.
And bad special teams. So you beat them. You beat Philly by 20. Now that doesn't look great, right? Yeah. Philly looks like they're a mess. You beat this Carolina team 36-28. Looks like they might stink. And then you beat the Giants last week. So I looked at that and I was like, maybe the schedule.
Did you look at your Patriots, who barely beat the miserable Texans, are going to have the worst? Did you look at that?
Belichick at home, must win. It seemed like it was a good bet, but it didn't cover.
It actually was. You shouldn't have lost that.
You have a bye week, and then you have at Minnesota, who's a little frisky.
That's a Thursday night, right? I think.
But then you get this Denver-Atlanta combo. They both suck. Mm-hmm. So you could be potentially either 7-2 or 8-1, and then you're at Kansas City Sunday.
I'm not as worried about it because there's only one bye, and I don't think we're going to go 14-3, right? So we're probably not going to get the 1 seed. So then it's just whatever, right?
Well, I wonder with this 17-week season, there's going to be so many ebbs and flows that you just have to be super careful at all times. Like my team's 2-4. I certainly don't feel like the season's over. Certainly feel like they could still get a 6 seed or a 7 seed. And then you look at like how well they played against Tampa and Dallas and say, maybe we're not that far away. Rookie quarterback gets better, starting to run the ball a little bit. There's a path. Like you watch that Pittsburgh-Seattle game today. We were saying that was a loser leaves town match. I'm not sure it was because there's so much time left and these injuries change everything. Like you look at the Browns now, and the Browns was a team I really liked. I thought they had a chance to win their division.
4th place.
And now they're like a mash unit, and their quarterback's in a press conference with the sling. I don't know how hurt Hunt is. Chubb's already hurt. Beckham's not the same guy. You're going down the line. It's like, I think that this season is just going to cross some teams off just by the length.
I think you're right. And I think we were always rooting for that Sunday night game to end so we could start the podcast and get to bed, especially on a night when we started with the London game at 6:30 in the morning. But you might look back and like, oh man, I should have rooted harder for those Seahawks, because the Steelers, you might have a bunch of teams that are 8-8 going into week 18 and, counting the bye, and yours team might be one of them. A lot of tiebreakers ahead.
I did a power poll because there was only 3 games, so there's a lot of dead time. So I was doing a power poll as I was going. And once you got Arizona and Buffalo at the top, then you have Rams, Tampa, Dallas, Baltimore, and I think that's your top 6.
Nobody puts Green Bay in there. It's unbelievable. They never get any respect.
Well, I have Kansas City as a sleeper at 7, and then I have the Chargers, Green Bay, and Cleveland rounding out the top 10. And then it goes kind of off a cliff, because then now all of a sudden you're in San Francisco, Cincy, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Tennessee, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. It drops right after that Chargers, Green Bay, Cleveland group. And you could argue if Cleveland's going to be super banged up, maybe they don't even belong in that group.
I'm with you. I think those top 8 you named, they all have very good quarterbacks, right? And Cleveland was probably last week in that top 8. And I'm not sure that the Baker's, I think he's on the outside looking at, plus the shoulder thing. I know it's a opposite shoulder, but it is a mess for him. They have to figure it out.
So you're higher on the Packers than I am, because I felt like,
I think I always am. I think I'm always higher on the Packers than anybody else's, but they lost that game to New Orleans, which they treated like an extra preseason game. And then they just kind of whipped up on bad teams and beat some teams that they could have lost to. They're pretty good. They don't really trip up easily.
I watched a lot of that game. I felt like if the Bears had a good coach, that result might have been different. It seemed like they could run on them. That Herbert was excellent. Right. The little running back.
Bears running back, yep.
They didn't really know how to use Fields, it doesn't seem like. And there was just some times when he was great. I just would have thought pound the ball, play action, kind of do what the Pats did with Mac Jones today. Put the guy in position to succeed. They look like they're at recess playing like, all right, draw your own plays. Fields, there's these plays where Fields is just running around, just trying to look for dudes. And I don't know, their defense is good. Like I did feel like they hung around, but that Rodgers, the I own you was incredible.
I mean, he does. He's like 21-4 against them. And first of all, I wouldn't be bragging about owning the Bears. It's like owning a broken down 88 Chevy Cavalier. Like I'd much rather own so many other things. But but I want that rivalry to mean something. Like this is the oldest rivalry in sports, and it hasn't produced like 1 or 2 memories over the years, right? Like the biggest memory from that rivalry is that guy with the mullet in the stands jumping out to catch the extra point on Monday Night Football. And that wasn't even in the game. But so, I mean, and Rodgers just takes over and he does own them. There's nothing they could say to that.
If you're a Bears fan, and I know a few of them, that's a raw moment where the guy does own you. It's kind of assumed, acknowledged, and he's been too classy to talk about it, but now he's in this deep Aaron Rodgers I don't care mode. Right. It's just throwing arrows everywhere, and then he does the I own you thing, and it is the all-time but still. What's your comeback? But still.
They have to wait till he goes to another team next year.
Yeah, but you're not going to be on that team anymore, Aaron Rodgers. Like, what do you do? What's your comeback?
Your commercials suck, and you don't think your girlfriend's pretty.
Your commercials slipped this year, jerk.
He's got like 58 touchdowns and 10 interceptions or something against that team.
The Bill Simmons Podcast, presented by Uber Eats.
This episode of the Bill Simmons Podcast is brought to you by Uber Eats. Uber Eats makes any game better. When you watch with friends, you're going to end up ordering a bunch of food for everybody. Get food delivered for your whole crew with the group order feature in the Uber Eats app. What would you order our friend Brad from the Uber Eats app? Just chicken wings?
He loves barbecue. You should have seen him today. There was an extra burger, and he just went wild. He put mayonnaise all over it and sat down with the burger and the tiki punch, wolfed it down, and then was asleep in 4 minutes.
Well, I would love to know what he's getting from Uber Eats next week, because I know I'll be eating Uber Eats as well. The official food delivery partner of the NFL, Uber Eats, bringing you game day deals all season. Buy one, get one when you order now. Uber Eats, official partner of the NFL. Offer good for select items at participating restaurants for a limited time. See app for details and availability.